Hello and welcome to this week's talk show. This week we're going to be heading into the workshop and talking with John, our workshop manager, about the Jaguar SS100. We're also going to have a little chat in here with me about an exhibition I have been to recently. Workshop here at Bridge Classic Cars with John, our workshop manager. Now there's a very special car behind us, isn't there, John? So tell us a bit about the car.
Well, it's a 1939 SS100. They're originally what became Jaguar. They were swallow sidecars, but after the war they changed the name because the SS looks a bit like a German symbol. So there's only about 115 of them made, so they are rare. Lovely car, lovely thing to drive. So I did work on Once Upon a Time a company that made replicas, so it's quite nice to see the original one.
Oh, amazing. So it is driven in the Mille Miglia, is that correct?
Yeah, it was in the Mille Miglia this year, yeah.
So what's happening with the car right now?
Well, he came back with one or two little faults, nothing serious. The head gasket was leaking a little bit, so we've done the head gasket, took it off, replaced it with a new one, and there was wear in the kingpins. So the kingpin basically is what the steering turns on the axis. So the steering gear joins the kingpins, which then allows the wheels to turn so you steer. We had wear in the kingpins. When we took it down, noticed that the actual axle was worn as well. These things you can't buy. So we've had to go to 2 or 3 companies to see if they'll rebore it, remake the kingpins for us. We found one locally. He's had it for a couple of months. He's drilling out the axle, making larger kingpins, and hopefully, at the end of this week, we should be back with us.
Fingers crossed. So when those kingpins come back, after that is sorted, what do you move on to next?
Well, it'll be a matter of testing it, making sure that the head gasket's okay, making sure the steering's okay, and then hopefully, all being well, it'll be ready for customer when he comes back later this year.
This segment of our talk show is going to be a little bit different. Last week I got the pleasure of going to the Marilyn Monroe exhibition in London, and it was a really cool thing to do. I mean, if you're into classic cars, vintage Hollywood, it's a really good place to go, and so much to learn about the lady who I guess everybody just saw her as a beautiful icon of the 1950s, early 60s. I mean, there she is up there, looking stunning as always. But when you go there, you kind of learn a little bit more in depth about her, and to see someone's life completely behind glass is really weird.
Did you know much about her before you went?
So I knew a little bit about her. A long time ago I did a play about her, and I played Norma Jean, so like her younger self before she turned into Marilyn Monroe, basically. So it was really good to kind of go, oh, well, I remember that little bit from that play, but it was just to know about someone's life and how kind of crazy and hectic it can be, and for such a short life as well. She accomplished so much. She really did. Like the way I feel like she used her beauty and her womanly wiles to her, what's the word?
Advantage?
Advantage, most definitely. I mean, she knew she was beautiful, she knew, and she used that to help herself get to where she needed to be.
So is it an exhibition that's on forever, or is it short term?
No, so I think it was opened in October, and I think they've just extended it. It was going to end in February, but they've extended it further, I believe, to the end of March now. So if you do like that kind of thing, I would really suggest going. Like, it's even down to the point where she has some of her hair equipment to curl her hair colours.
So it's loads of original, clothing?
Yeah, clothing. The hair curlers was quite incredible because it actually has strands of her blonde hair on it.
Where did all this stuff come from? Like, how do they know it's the genuine
stuff? When Marilyn Monroe died, in her will, she left everything to someone called Lee Strasberg, which was her acting coach. And basically he kept all of it in storage for his whole life. When he passed away, his wife then sent all of her stuff to auctions.
Right, okay.
So it's stuff that had been auctioned off. So I'm not sure if this was a kind of private collection or if...
Or it comes from separate
collections. Separate collections.
Right, okay.
Because there was loads and loads of stuff there.
Yeah.
I mean, the array of stuff was quite interesting. So you had like her makeup, you had her clothes, you had her trunk that she took on her honeymoon, but you also had her will, and you had contracts, receipts for random things. And it's like, what was quite cool was to see an item of clothing, for example, she had a leopard print scarf, and there's loads of pictures you see her wearing the leopard print scarf, and they've got the actual scarf there in front of it, which is really interesting. And whilst you're going round, you're kind of thinking, okay, so Marilyn Monroe was an icon, like the blonde bombshell. Everyone wanted to be her, everyone loved her. But then you think, okay, she died so young in a very strange circumstance, I guess. Like, some people think that she was murdered. Some people think that she suicide. Some people think it was negligence on her doctor and psychiatrist part with the pills that they gave her. But no one will actually really never know.
No, absolutely.
Never know.
Yeah.
And sometimes you look at it and go, okay, she was a massive star, but so were the other people who were iconic at that time.
Mm-hmm.
If she hadn't have died, would she be as iconic now? If she was still in...
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's really interesting when you think about things like that, because...
Well, because I guess it's, you know, like, if we go back to cars, the cars that were iconic back then as well, are they still iconic now? Are they as popular, you know? And all of the people who we consider icons or superstars now, what are they going to be like? What are the cars going to be like, you know, from this era? It's
very
really
similar
interesting.
in our generation, Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
It's a very similar thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
if she was still around now,
Yeah.
and obviously went into an older age, would she still be the icon that she's become?
That she is now,
You know?
It's really interesting, and it's a really great exhibition because it shows highs and lows of her life. It has quotes on the wall of things that she said. When you go round, it does feel quite sombre.
Yeah.
Because even though she was outwardly to the world this beautiful, charismatic, energetic woman, okay, she had her highs and lows with substance abuse and things like that. But one of the quotes that really stood out for me was really sad because she was adopted when she was little, fostered, because her mum had to go into a mental institution. She has this quote that says, I was never told when I was younger that I was pretty. This isn't exact, by the way. I was never told that I was pretty when I was younger. Young girls should always be told that they're pretty, even if they're not. Which then I was just like, that's like a real kind of sad sentiment, but then so true, because everyone deserves to feel beautiful and to feel lovely. Not that beauty is the be all and end all.
Who decides who's beautiful?
Yeah,
you know?
and everyone is beautiful in their own ways, be it personality or anything. But then it kind of like was like, oh, okay. And it seems like she really had to fight for everything.
Yeah. So how long's the exhibition on for, did you say?
I think it finishes at the end of March. It takes about 2 hours to go around, and I read everything.
Right.
But there was like some quite nice interactive bits where you could put your hand in her handprint that they've done in Hollywood, and that you can have your great moment, you know, the dress moment where her dress flies. So they've got like a grate and you can stand if you've got a dress and do the pose next to her. So it's a really lovely exhibition, and if you love vintage, old-fashioned Hollywood, just to learn a little bit more about the insight of what it was like back in the 50s in Hollywood, it's a good place to go. Yeah.
Excellent.
In this week's episode, we've talked about the iconic Jaguar SS100 and the iconic Marilyn Monroe. But do you think there's anything of 2025 and the modern world that is going to become iconic in the future? Any car, do you reckon? Please let us know in the comments.